Is there a difference, for example, between the individual who can't fall asleep, this initiation of sleep insomnia, versus the person that I hear much more about, and frankly, I experience more, which is, it's not that hard for me to fall asleep, but boy, I will jolt up at 1 a.m. with some thought or anxiety that I can't get out of my mind. And my mind starts running and I can't go back to sleep. Or I get up because I got to pee. But when I come back, I erroneously just do something with my mind where I get thinking about the day's problem or whatever. So do you think of those as different, or are they just same side of a different coin? Different side, same coin, I guess.
Great question. So those people need the same stuff. And the people who can't fall asleep at the beginning of the night, their mind's just racing earlier than yours. Yours is just waking you up. And there's a whole suite of interventions that are part of cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, starting by addressing the racing mind issue. I always tell patients, if you don't deal with what's causing you stress or anxiety during the day, it's going to demand to be dealt with in the middle of the night. It's going to say, oh, Peter, I notice you're laying there peacefully, not doing any work or tasks, and you don't have anything you need to do right now. So you're going to pay attention to me. And it's going to demand your attention at that time. Other people, that happens right when their head hits the pillow at the beginning of the night. Oh, you're relaxing now. Okay, here's your 10 things to worry about, right? So one of my favorite interventions that's actually born of anxiety treatment, but that I've co-opted and I've moved into cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia because it fits with the theoretical framework, is something called scheduled worry time. This sounds a little bit pedantic and silly, but hear me out. If a patient came to me and said, Ashley, I worry all day. I'm worried about all of these things. And my life is just a constant ball of worry. And I said, okay, I've got a solution for you. And it's 2 words. Ready? Stop it.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work, right? Doesn't work. So I take the opposite approach. Okay, this is really important to you. This is something you're doing all the time, all day. Guess what? What do we do with things that are really important to us?
Make time for them.
We schedule them. Exactly. So I have my patient literally we used to, back in the day of paper calendars, this felt like a different exercise. Now people get out their phones, but I have them get out their phone or whatever and say, all right, we're going to schedule worry time. And it's going to be an hour a day for the next 7 days. It is non-negotiable. I may or may not schedule an email to go out to you at the end of that time, and you have to go and reply to it and tell me what you did, right? And what we find is that when people work with this during the day, it does 2 things. The first is, let's say it's 9 a.m. and you are trying to do something in your life, and instead a worry pops up. You can actually think, oh, okay, I don't have to deal with this now. I'm going to write this down because at 4 o'clock, I've got scheduled time to deal with this, right? So that way you're uncluttering the rest of your day by moving all of the worry into that scheduled time.
So this could be a valuable technique, even absent insomnia.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'd say that probably between a third and half of my patients who come in with insomnia, they've got some bad sleep stuff for sure. But for some of those people, it's a primary anxiety disorder, and sleep is suffering also. Whereas other folks, it's primary insomnia, and that's driving them anxious, right? But to rewind back to your earlier question about the middle of the night versus the beginning of the night. So the other thing that scheduling worry time does, besides uncluttering your whole day, is it helps you get it done during the day so that when your head hits the pillow, it's not there. Yeah. Oh, I already worked on this. And also the knowledge, oh, I have time set aside tomorrow to work on this or to think about this. So I don't have to do that now. And cognitively, this all makes sense. And you would maybe think you can think your way out of this, but you can't. You actually have to try it. And I've done this with a lot of people. I've done this with doctors, police people, people from all walks of life can really find this valuable. The other thing when it comes to falling asleep at the beginning of the night versus the middle of the night is that there's sometimes low-hanging fruit that we can think about. You mentioned getting up to go to the bathroom. I've found that for a lot of men who are 45 and up who still have a prostate, just not drinking very much fluid with dinner and after dinner is huge. And also throwing an electrolyte tab in there can really help. Granted, it's got to be the right osmolarity and everything else, but there are ways to find this. Don't slam Gatorade at night. That's not what I'm suggesting. But just throw a Noon tab or whatever whatever electrolyte replacement. And I've had some male patients go from waking up 3 times in the night to pee to 1 time. And the fewer times you wake up in the night, the fewer times you risk not falling back asleep. So little things like that can actually make a difference for waking up in the middle of the night. The other one I have about the middle of the night is a little more out there, but hear me out. If I had 5 cents for every time I took away a down comforter from someone and their sleep got better, I'd have like $8. I mean, this is huge. And this is because everybody's heard of circadian rhythm, right? But it's missing a word. It's circadian temperature rhythm, right? Your body is supposed to be its coolest at night and its warmest during the day. And my favorite people to talk with about this are actually anesthesiologists. They know more about body temperature than anyone. It's remarkable. But what I've had the great good fortune of learning is that your body temperature, it's supposed to be the warmest during the day and the coolest during the night. And when we do things like trap heat with down comforters, quilted nonsense, even cotton replacement duvet. If the word duvet is in it, comforter is in it, wove, like I'm like, it's a no for me. And I give people a handout. I'm like, here's the definition of a cotton blanket. Here are links to examples of what cotton blankets are. If you are cold, buy 2, buy 3, use these. And I'm telling you, it's made a huge difference for a lot of women in particular with night sweats. And people wake up less sometimes because they're not giving their body this message that it's time to wake up because they're not as warm. People complain about their feet and their hands, and I say, that's fine. You can put your down comforter over the foot of your bed. You can wear some socks, right? But I take body temperature regulation very seriously, and sometimes it's a quick fix, and we don't need a whole lot of muss and fuss. Now, you've probably tried to, this is a very long-winded answer to your question, but I'll finish after this. The people at the start of the night, it's worth asking people at the start of the night if they're cold, if their hands and their feet are cold. Have you ever tried to fall asleep when your hands and your feet are cold?
Yeah, I mean, I try to be uncomfortably cold when I get into bed.
Right, but your hands and your feet.
No, generally not. I mean, it's just my body.
Right.
But again, I'm using a device to cool me as well.
Slightly different. Yeah. But spoiler alert, it's pretty hard to fall asleep when you have cold hands and feet. And what we have data on from some interesting research in a totally different realm is that people with extremity circulation disorders, like who have really cold hands and
something
feet,
like that.
Right. Yeah. They will have more what we call early insomnia, which is difficulty falling asleep at the beginning of the night.
Yeah. Makes sense.
When they get successful treatment, or when you warm their hands and their feet, much easier to fall asleep. The whole warm foot bath before bed thing, that's an actual thing. So warming your extremities help you dump heat, right? So when you actually warm your hands and your feet, you can actually help dump heat from your core because you're vasodilating. And when you fall asleep, you want to be dumping heat from your core. Hard to do that when you're vasoconstricted in your hands and your feet. So for folks who have trouble falling asleep at the start of the night, we want to make sure their hands or feet are warm enough, right? And that they've dealt with the thoughts and the worries during the day, and that they're not trying to go to sleep at 9 o'clock when their body doesn't want to go to sleep until 11. A lot of people just think, I need to have this much time in bed each night. And they get into bed and they struggle for 2 hours before their body actually wants to go to sleep. So a major part of CBTI is aligning when your body can produce sleep with when you're in your bed.